I chat to a lot of people, obviously, as
Yes,
you do.
Yes, you do.
And Mike Sharma from Retroviral,
right.
probably the best creative in this country, without a doubt. Some of the ad campaigns he does, outstanding, so closely linked to sport as well, and all sorts of social corporate responsibility programs. And he's a big fan of the box, big fan of the Proteas, big fan of Bafana, the Proteas netball squad, the hockey, you name it, Olympics, Team South Africa, he's there with campaigns. No, he's all over it, okay? And we were chatting about the box and the box scrum and all that kind of stuff. And then he said to me, hey, I've got this great client. They are Steco. And I said, yeah, what do they do? He said, look it up. And he said, Ryobi, the same Ryobi, powered by Steco. It's power tools, it's generators. It's like the Bok Pack, he said to me. And let me see if they may be interested in being on your guys' show and all that kind of stuff. And how do we do it where it's not contrived, etc., etc. I said, give away a lot of generators, okay? Give away a lot of prizes.
Right.
Oaks love that kind of crap, okay?
Those
They just want things, okay?
Yes.
If there's prizes and it's quality prizes like that,
yes.
We can do anything you want, okay? Yes. But just pay us a lot of money, mate.
It's not about the money.
He said we can't do that at the moment, but what we can do is kind of give exposure to the brand, because they're also a client of his that does so much for rugby, upliftment with teams, with people, and it's changing lives, okay? And we'll get into that over the next couple of weeks, and we'll tell some of those stories of the lives they've changed and what they're doing with rugby academies and sporting academies. But his big thing was, let's introduce a section, the power play of the week. Because they're all about shaping the future. They're all about power tools that won't quit, etc. Let's do power play of the week. So I said to him, okay, we're going to do 3 games. We're going to do Ireland against the All Blacks. We're going to do Australia against England, and we're going to do the Box against Scotland. We'll have a few nominations, what we thought were power plays, and then we'll have a winner.
Sure.
And the winner will be the Ryobi-Steco Power Play of the Week.
Oh, I like that.
So
I like that,
let's start off with Dublin. Now, I got a lot of messages, obviously. People being very clever after the fact. Someone saying to me, how did you ever back Ireland to beat the All Blacks in Dublin? And my answer was, they hadn't lost there for 4 years, 19 test matches, and they'd pumped them for the last 2 times in Dublin, and the All Blacks hadn't won there for 8 years, and I felt Ireland were the better team playing at home.
Yeah.
Clearly, I got it wrong.
Mate, you got it wrong. I think I called him by 16 points.
I had Ireland to win 30-18.
I don't remember, mate. I've blanked it out of my mind.
30-18.
Yeah.
What I didn't factor in was a Friday night in Dublin. And those Irish guys would like to be at the hotel or be in the pub, not on a rugby field, okay? I also didn't factor in that they hadn't played since July in South Africa. And I also didn't factor in that New Zealand had played a big test match the week beforehand.
Yes.
So back of the queue to me, a lot of those messages you guys sent me, voice notes you sent me, I've never listened to, okay? I didn't have to. I knew what was coming, okay? I knew it was coming. So, big moments for you in that game?
It was an untidy game. I don't think either team will be particularly happy with their performances. Obviously, All Blacks very happy to clinch the win there. Ireland will be shaking their heads.
Did you watch it?
Yeah. I think the highlight in that game was probably that ridiculous long freaking 50-22 from James Lowe. That was a great moment in that.
Okay, now James Lowe, the New Zealand Maori winner who went to Ireland as part of their overseas projects and has been one of their star players and has been very, very boisterous and vociferous every time they've been in New Zealand, which has been 5 out of 10 times. It's only 5 times in their history that they've won. Out of New Zealand's won 32, and I think there's been the odd draw. He was a little bit quieter at the World Cup, and he's a little bit quieter in Dublin. But he took a big ribbon for his reaction at 23-13, 71st minute, to get so pumped, scream at the crowd and that. And I think he was spot on because they needed a lift.
Totally.
New Zealand were dominant. I thought it was a poor grubber through from Will Jordan. Why did he have to kick the ball, keep it? They were very strong, controlling their game at that stage. Their bench had proved more powerful than Ireland's. And that team needed a moment, a power moment.
Absolutely.
And especially from someone who doesn't quit. And that's that bloke, James Lowe. And I just thought it was bloody good defense from New Zealand for 2 minutes to keep them out. Ireland score there. It's 23-20 with 5 to go. It could be a very different result because we've seen how New Zealand has fallen away in tight games. So I think for me, that was a power moment. from that test match.
Totally.
A moment I'll remember for all the right reasons. Great bit of individual brilliance from James Lowe, but the right result that the All Blacks won.
And also, let's just digress for a second there. If there's anything Gregor Townsend needs to do in Scottish rugby, is to get the Scottish people to open their mouths. That stadium was like a morgue. I think if the Scotland fans had actually got behind them a bit more, you might have seen more out of that Scottish team. So hats off to James Lowe to trying to get the crowd into the game and to pump up the team. I thought that was fabulous. And that kick was outstanding. I don't know how much of it he intended, but it was a great
Look,
nudge.
he's got a great left boot.
Yeah.
To me, he's one of the best winners in the world because of his all-round game. And credit to Ireland, they really developed his game. They developed his conditioning and kind of turned him into a test player when he was always on the peripheral in New Zealand. New Zealand Maori player, played for the Chiefs, but was never quite in the All Black equation. And as Ian Foster said at the time, him and Gibson Park. I was going to say Park Gibson, that wasn't right. Gibson Park. They went to Ireland and have become better players.
Yeah.
And that you've got to give the Irish system for developing them.
Yeah, I think James Lowe is definitely on the shortlist for Ireland Rugby's award for Best Foreigner of the Year. So
okay, yeah.
I think he might win it.
I don't know. That 9's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
And that
Mackie Hansen.
Yeah, he's back in the mix as well. And Bundyaki, well,
Bundy.
he's there and thereabouts. I see he's not playing this weekend.
Yeah.
But he also, I mean, I thought they tied him up nicely. The only time he looked effective was when Geordie Barrett was not on the field.
Yeah.
And then he was running against no 12. His opposite number was sitting, counting down the 10 minutes for that yellow card. A yellow card that I also didn't believe was a yellow card. But we won't go there. We'll be here all day if we're talking about what should and shouldn't have been yellow cards. We look at that match at Allianz Twickenham. Once again, I got a lot of messages saying, how could you call an England win? Very easy.
Very, very easily. Very easily, that could have been an England win.
No, but how could you call it pre the game? Well, Australia had won 1 out of 6 in the Rugby Championship. And that one was a last-minute win against Argentina. They took 60 points in Argentina. They got smashed by the Box in 2 successive weekends. New Zealand clobbered them. I thought they'd get blown away by 15 points at least. And the way that
16.
game started,
Totally.
I thought, yeah, we're in for a big one here. But an incredible game of rugby, eh?
Incredible. And I mean, if you'd said to England, you're going to score 37 points against England and against Australia and lose, I mean, who would have believed that at Twickenham? Insane. I think the highlights of that whole thing, aside from the thrilling, to and fro at the end there, was just new kid on the block, Josu Ali'i, mate. What a talent. And I mean, what are we doing in rugby that a guy can just come from another code and basically just blow up everything you know about the game and how it works and what can be done? Just some of those touches, insane.
Well, he was a great schoolboy union player, went to league, signed for the Roosters, ages 19 to 21. Probably had 2 weeks of training, has never played a senior rugby union game.
This is my point.
Goes in and plays 13 at Twickenham against England, an Australian side that's struggling, and just does some magical thing. His aerial skills.
Well, that's what I was going to say, mate. What are we doing in strength and conditioning in rugby union that a guy can come from league and his vertical leap alone, he can out-jump a lock? I mean, Murray Toja in the kick receipt was being lifted and he got out-jumped by Joe. That would definitely be one of my power plays.
So, I mean, he was outstanding. I mean, there's a couple of clips going around his contribution to the game, but just his poise and his calm. Comes from good stock. His father played for Samoa in rugby union in the World Cup, I think 2007. He did play Rugby League World Cup for Samoa as well. But, the NRL, Roosters, it's a hell of a tough league. It's a great schooling, great grounding for those young rugby league players. But there's an excitement about him that we haven't kind of experienced since Sonny Bill Williams came over and Izzy Folau came over, and in the earlier days, Jason Robinson. And I saw Clive Woodward had put out a column before the test match to say, I think this guy's going to be more Jason Robinson than Sam Burgess.
Oh, wow.
That means he's going to be a success.
Wow.
So he was very good. We talk about the Sonny Bill Williams. I'm talking about the Lenny.
Lenny Ikitau.
The Lenny Ikitau offload.
Right.
To Max Jorgensen over try time, game, set and match. Now, here's the interesting stat. Jorgensen, on his debut, off the bench, on the win, scores as 20-year-old. His old man, Peter Jorgensen, 1992, off the bench against Scotland, 20 years old, on the win, plays his only 2 tests for Australia. A couple of years later, goes to rugby league for 6 or 7 years, comes back to Union, plays in England, plays for Northampton among other teams, finishes off with Edinburgh. He's only 51, his kid's 20. What a father-son story.
Wow, that is incredible.
What a good history lesson I just gave you.
Wow, that's
there.
amazing, mate. So, I mean, if you're a punter out there, mate, and Max has got a little boy, wait 20 years and put some money down.
That's going to be the third one to play. Well, all Max has got to do now, though, is go back to league
Right.
and play for the Kangaroos because his old man didn't do that.
Okay.
To get one over the old
Right.
man. We are talking power plays. We're talking the Ryobi-Steco Power plays, courtesy of Retro Viral and Mike Sharman, my mate, who said, hey, guys, we could have someone who could align with your show.
Do it.
Tools that don't quit, it doesn't quit. The Bok Pack.